It is often essential to challenge the ingrained notions that shape our perception of reality when searching for self-discovery and a deeper understanding of our existence. This is because these notions shape our perception of reality. There are many such notions that, when deconstructed, can lead to profound revelations about the nature of consciousness. One such notion is the concept that there is an individual, a me, at the center of our sensory experiences. In the course of this investigation, we will dismantle the delusion of a distinct self and delve into the direct experience of the five senses, beginning with the sense of hearing. Let us take a moment to reflect on the act of listening. The sensation that there is a distinct you within your body that is actively engaged in listening to this narrative is something that you may be experiencing. The difficult part is coming to terms with the fact that there is no separate listener. Rather, the only thing that exists is sound that manifests itself within consciousness. The very act of hearing is the sound itself, and the illusion of a listener is nothing more than a veil that obscures the direct experience of sound. For one to fully comprehend this idea, it is necessary to trace the sound all the way back to its source and to let go of the concept of a personal listener. In the absence of a distinct entity that is capable of receiving them, sounds exist independently. Listening with the entire body or being is a method that provides individuals with the opportunity to experience sound without the presence of a listener acting as an intermediary. By letting go of the idea of a listener, one is able to directly perceive the purity of sound, liberated from the illusion of aim experiencing it. In addition, sound does not have a fixed location. The divisions of over there and right here are thought-based constructions. There is a sudden and unexpected emergence of sound, which appears to come from within the silence. The realization that the source of sound is the very essence of silence brings us to the realization that there is no need for to claim ownership of the auditory experience. This realization is brought about by the realization that the source of sound exists. Regarding the sense of feeling, it is of the utmost importance to differentiate between the erroneous notion of a feeler and the direct experience of sensations. Language that is frequently used, such as "feel your feelings," can be misleading because it suggests that there is a distinct entity that is experiencing the sensations. Nevertheless, there is no feeler. The only thing that exists are sensations. The most important thing is to let go of the illusion of a me feeling the body and to perceive sensations in their natural state, those that are unadulterated and unfiltered. The experience of feeling is the sensation itself. There is no separate individual who is going through the experience. It is possible to overcome the illusion of a me that takes ownership of feelings if one acknowledges this fact. In order to fully allow and embrace sensations without the need for a personal identifier, it is essential to make this shift in perspective. Through the application of the same principles to the sense of sight, we are able to challenge the illusion of a distinct seer. The act of seeing is not something that is done by a person. Rather, it is the direct experience of what comes into view. In reality, the seer is not a separate entity, but rather the sight itself. Due to the fact that this is understood, the concept of a separate observer is eliminated, which enables the visual experience to develop without the need for an intermediary representing a me. Thought is the construct that gives rise to the notion that something is being observed by a person. Sight is a straightforward and uncomplicated experience, with the things that are seen existing independently of the individual who is observing them. It is possible to experience sight in its purest form if one is willing to let go of the illusion of being a seer. When we apply these principles to the remaining senses of taste and smell, the overarching theme becomes apparent. The illusion of aim experiencing these senses stands in the way of the direct and unfiltered experience of taste and smell. In order to liberate oneself from the constraints that are imposed by the illusion of self, it is necessary to recognize that every sense possesses its own reality, which is independent of every individual who experiences it. This raises the question, How is it possible to be liberated from the senses? It is necessary to acknowledge that these senses are dependent on consciousness in order to give the impression that they exist. An individual is able to find peace within themselves and transcend the limitations of the senses when they let go of the need to rely on these senses to validate their existence. The path that leads beyond the illusion of the self and the senses ultimately results in a profound awareness of presence. In contrast to the concept of an individual being present, presence is distinguished by the fact that it possesses its own reality. There is no limitation placed on it by the limitations of the senses or the illusion of the self. Simply put, there is presence here. There is no such thing as nobody when it comes to presence. By modifying one's relationship with the senses, one can achieve independence from them and experience a level of freedom that was previously unavailable to them. The world becomes less solid and more dreamlike as a result of this freedom, which creates the opportunity for a playful approach to life. Sensations, which were once a source of contention and resistance, are now transformed into expressions of playfulness. When fear is no longer a source of anxiety for anyone, it loses its power, and the individual is able to interact with life in a manner that is more genuine and liberating. The culmination of this investigation brings us to a location within ourselves that is beyond the realm of the physical world. This internal realm, which is frequently referred to as the heaven within, is not confined to the limitations of the body, but rather exists beyond the mental constructs that are imagined. In order to achieve a union with something greater, whether it be God, the universe, or oneself, it is necessary to let go of the world, whether it be the physical or the spiritual. Individuals are prompted to let go of the mental constructs that shaped their reality as a result of this introspective journey, which challenges the notion that the mind is the world. The transformation of one's relationship with the world and with oneself occurs when one chooses to rest within themselves rather than in their senses. In this way, the world, which was once thought of as solid, transforms into a dreamlike state, thereby paving the way for a more playful and genuine engagement with life. The investigation of the illusion of self and the direct experience of the senses reveals a reality that goes beyond the conventional understanding of the world. One can achieve a profound sense of freedom by first acknowledging that the concept of me is an illusion and that the senses are independent of the individual who is experiencing them from their own perspective. This freedom makes it possible to engage with life in a way that is both playful and genuine, free from the burden of friction and resistance that is not necessary. Individuals are able to transcend the illusion of self and senses as they become more open to the direct experience of sound, sensations, and sight. There is no separate nobody present in the state of presence that is reached through the journey. Rather, there is only the experience of being itself. The exploration, in the end, extends an invitation to individuals to discover the world that lies within them, a realm that transcends the confines of the physical and the mental constructs that are imagined. Participating in this transformative journey requires individuals to rethink their relationship with themselves, their senses, and the world around them. It also encourages them to engage in playful interaction with the reality that is constantly unfolding.